In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, we are with you for the first session of training for the 3ds Max program and software. Well, the first thing I need to tell you is that in the first sessions, because we cover some preliminaries, we cover some shortcuts, and it's an introduction. It requires a bit of your patience and attention to the matters we discuss. Because these are the foundation for your training. Although they may seem very simple, in the future, it will directly impact your speed, your accuracy, and your performance. Well, we'll cover a few topics in the first lesson. First, an introduction to the software environment. And our aim is for our sessions not to exceed 15 minutes. The second point we'll cover is about shortcuts. And we'll cover some of those shortcuts in this session, and the rest in the next session. Well, when you open 3ds Max, a working screen or interface is shown to you. 3ds Max, which includes various options, for example, tools and these shapes that you see in the scene. And depending on your version, the appearance and look of some icons or the windows themselves might be slightly different. Based on what I remember and have worked with from 3ds Max in the past, what's in the previous versions of 3D Max, considering my 3D Max version is 2020. If there were any specific points compared to previous versions, I will tell you. And know that overall, there isn't a big difference between older versions of 3ds Max and the versions currently available in the market. Very well. The first thing that we see at the top, I'll highlight it in bold yellow, is the title bar, which shows your project's name along with Autodesk 3ds Max, now the version of Max you installed. And in that corner are the 3 famous icons of the Windows environment. After that, we have a section that we call the main menu, which includes File, Edit, Tools, Group, and so on, where all the tools related to 3ds Max are within these subgroups. These are very familiar to you in the Windows environment. You've definitely encountered these in other software as well. And one explanation here is that in previous versions, the file might not have been written, and an icon for 3D Max would be in this corner. And when you open that icon, it shows you the same file options. It displays them to you. After that, there's the toolbar, which is located below the main menu, and the tools that are readily available to you and are more frequently used are placed in this section. You can add or remove them, or something. If you install a tool menu, you can place it here. Undefined. And if you notice, next to each of them, there's a double row of dotted lines, which are actually handles that you can drag to detach them remove them, or change their position. You can place them on the left side of your screen or on the right side. If you notice, most of these toolbars that exist in the scene, like even this section, see these double rows of dotted lines they have. In other versions, it might not be dotted lines, but a small handle or an indentation that regardless, you can very easily find the toolbar section at the top or on the left side. Further down is the ribbon. This section is the ribbon, where tools based on the operation you are performing you perform in 3ds Max. Those tools might be useful to you, and they are provided for you in this section, made available here. I mentioned that on the right side, and similarly on the left side, you can place tools. When you move the cursor towards it, it locks and stays there. Okay. On the right side for me, it has placed a window, a tool that has 4 windows inside it. This relates to the scene viewports. If you look closely at the scene viewports, they are in the form of 4 shapes by default. And it has also placed 4 shapes here for me. I can change it and adjust it to other shapes, which I will explain later. On the right side, the Modifier Stack is located. Modifier Stack to create new shapes or new volumes, or lights, cameras, helpers, and other things, or to make changes to those volumes. Meaning as modifiers, and also to change the center of volumes, and other tasks that you can perform on your shapes on your volumes. You can easily do them from this section. Okay. The section below has a timeline. If you look closely at the timeline, there is a number from 0 to 100 and a roller. Let's say that moves and shifts up to 100. This is for when you want to animate in the scene. You use this timeline, which is divided by frame or time. Below that timeline is the command line. It displays the commands you execute in 3ds Max here for you. And next to the command line, we have 3 buttons that look like a lock and a square. And in some older versions, or some versions, it's like a lamp and a square with a circle in the middle. These relates to the objects in the scene that you can lock or isolate, and how to work with them will be taught later in the course. After that, we have coordinates here, which are the X, Y, Z coordinates of the mouse in the scene. Or, if you click on an object in the scene and select it, the center specifications of that object in the scene will be displayed for you. Next to it are some familiar icons like play, next, and similar ones, which are specifically for the timeline located at the top. And also auto key buttons, set key, and buttons related to animation in the scene. And in the last section, we have 8 buttons related to rotating, moving, and changing our viewports. These 4 shapes, located in the center of the scene, are what we call viewports, and we can move around, rotate, zoom in, or scale them. Also, if our scene is on a camera or a light, the shape of these 8 changes slightly. And these changes help us to move our camera according to what we are seeing and make the desired changes in the scene. But in the scene itself, we have 4 windows. Which by default are set to top, front, left, and perspective. These show us our objects and the shapes in our scene for different angles. If you are familiar with the 3 views, you will notice that completely what we saw in the 3 views, meaning the top view, the left view, and the front view have been placed here for us, in addition to a perspective view. One of these 4 windows is always active for us, which we can identify by the yellow line around it to know which window is active for us. We can tell that this window is active for us by the yellow line drawn around it. And if you click on it, it becomes active. Clicking on any of these makes it active. Let me go back to the main screen. You'll see later that the perspective now has a yellow line around it, indicating it's our active scene. Whichever window I click on, it turns it into our active scene. A point about the viewports is that at the top of the viewports, we see some text in brackets and to its right a cube. Working with this cube can be quite easy for you. As you hover over each face, it highlights, and you'll notice that if you click, it will display that face for you. On the corners, on the edges, and wherever you rotate it, it will place it. There's a house-like icon at the top, and when you click on it, it returns to the initial view. There are also texts, each related to how to display objects in the scene. The first one is a plus sign in brackets, which returns you to your viewport, allowing you to choose whether to have grids or not, whether it's active, and also the viewport cube, meaning the cube on the right, whether it's shown or not, and other things. The second option, as you can see if you look closely, says perspective. It tells you how you want to view the scene, meaning the scene will be transformed into your desired view. Then after that, it's about the quality of displaying objects in the scene. And in the last one, the quality of displaying objects in the scene is 3D or 2D. The difference between these two is that the first one, undefined in whatever way it is. For example, if you want to show the material in the scene, it will show the materials and display higher or lower quality for you. And in the next section, it tells you how to display it. whether it should be wireframe or clay, flat, or other cases that we will become more familiar with in future sessions. I hope you enjoyed this session, and until the next session, I entrust you to God Almighty.